evening. I'm Sam Chinedu. Mental health is real, seek help, and the stigma. On the news this evening, RISIEC to use existing voter register for local government elections despite INEC's planned registration. PDP threatens stiffer sanction against members endorsing President Tinubu. Joint investigation visit to oil spill sites in Kenya community, River State postponed. On the foreign scene, Chinese President Xi tells Russian counterpart Putin China welcomes fresh U.S.-Russia contacts. I'm Sam Chinedu, and the news continues after the break. Welcome back. The River State Independent Electoral Commission, RISIEC, says it will use the updated register of voters obtained in March this year to conduct the August 30 local government elections, despite plans by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to begin continuous voter registration in the state. The commission in charge of political parties affairs, monitoring and security, Godfrey Woke, disclosed this in an interview with correspondent Soibi Oruwari while reacting to INEC's planned exercise. Professor Woke maintained that the voter register already obtained is up to date and will not disenfranchise eligible voters in the state.
We have gotten the one we want to use. So anyone that is identical, that doesn't concern RISIEC. You cannot say that because we already said that our list is stopped before 18th. As it's before 18th, we are using to conduct our elections. So what the RISIEC do, INEC is not our business. It will not.
Meanwhile, the spokesperson of the Emeka Beke-led APC in River State, Darlington Woju, has urged RISIEC to wait for the conclusion of INEC's registration exercise in order to comply with the Supreme Court judgment delivered in February this year. Mr. Woju, who opposes the present RISIEC conducting any elections, argued that the Commission lacks the legal authority to deny eligible voters the right to participate.
Of Supreme Court February 20, and one of the fundamentals this issue of an updated voters register. The requirement simply means that RISIEC should have an updated register for effective planning of elections. I do not think that you are supposed to have a register in the middle of the elections, given the fact that most persons who are up to the voting age by this year would have been effectively alienated or disenfranchised from the...
Would you also accuse the current commission of being selective in continuing with decisions inherited from the dissolved 6th Commission?
And we are saying as such, when the elections is planned or fixed, there is no updated voters register for River State. That is the true position of things. And now, even talking about inheriting the materials that Enebeli obtained, what about the issue of the leadership of political parties in River State? That this present RISIEC has chosen their own leadership against the rule of law.
A correspondent reports that screening of chairmanship candidates for the August 30 local government elections began today at the RISIEC office. In the meantime, ahead of the August 30 local government elections in River State, the Executive Director, Wado Center for Youth Development, Reverend Father Hennetu Chinweoka, has cautioned youths against political thuggery and electoral violence. Speaking on Nigeria Info's Morning Crossfire, Chinweoka said the idea of making quick money from politicians by aiding ballot box snatching and other electoral offences has cost many their lives. The clergyman urged young people to live uprightly and uphold a lifestyle of integrity.
Young people today are thinking of how to make it, not the means of making it. Making it is having money. However, that's a lost hope. The society seems to value only money, and they don't know that the poorest people on earth are those who have only money. The politicians are already doing their plus and minuses. That is, if the result of the election is not written, sometimes the young people do not understand the games. You see, when we think of those who gain from this violence, we forget that there are those who wanted to gain but died in the course of.
Moving on, the PDP National Working Committee today warned members of the party expressing support for President Bola Tinubu to retrace their steps or face stiffer sanctions. The party's National Publicity Secretary, Debo Ologunagba, in a statement criticized errant members for their actions, describing them as anti-party and against the opposition party's constitution. The NWC expressed dismay over the persistent public media outburst against the PDP by some prominent members whose actions and utterances, including their declaration of support and willingness to work for the victory of the APC in the 2027 presidential election. The statement said such anti-party activities have continued to negatively impact the PDP, leading to division, disaffection, and may reduce the party's electoral fortune, if not immediately checked. In another development, Rivers State Sole Administrator, retired Vice Admiral Ibokete Ibas, has told the management of the Niger Delta Development Commission to ensure the development in the region goes beyond roads and bridges construction. Administrator Ibas said this when the Minister of Regional Development, Abubakar Momo, led the management of the NDDC to visit him at the Government House today. He stated the need for a holistic approach to development in the Niger Delta.
Infrastructure remains a major need, but so do social investment, human capital development, and economic inclusion. I want to humbly encourage that while physical infrastructure remains important, we must now begin to think beyond mere physical infrastructure. The Niger Delta region, blessed with abundant natural and human resources, needs to focus on projects that can exponentially grow both the regional and national GDP.
In his remarks, Abubakar Momo explained that his visit was part of a nationwide assessment tour to evaluate ongoing and abandoned NDDC projects, in line with President Bola Tinubu's directive to complete all such initiatives in the region.
We appreciate your decision to include Rivers State in your itinerary. It sends a strong message that our people, our priorities, and our development are not left behind in the implementation of the renewed hope agenda and the broader vision for national progress. Rivers State, we acknowledge the enduring partnership with NDDC. We remain grateful for landmark projects like the Ka-Atagba, the Borokere Ring Road projects, and several other important projects spread across the state.
The minister lauded Ibas for fostering peace and stability in Rivers State, which he noted has attracted investment and revitalized commercial activities. Still to come, joint investigation visit to oil spill sites in Pia community, Rivers State postponed. Stay tuned. Welcome back. The acting sole administrator of the River State Waste Management Agency, RIWAMA, Emmanuel Fianemeka, has warned residents against dumping refuse in the middle of roads. Speaking to journalists, Fianemeka reiterated that dumping waste on the median is illegal, adding that anyone caught dumping waste outside the approved hours of 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. will be apprehended by sanitation marshals.
We want to stop dumping indiscriminately on the roads, especially in the middle of it. There's going to be a proper, effective campaign on that issue. We're also trying to ensure that we deploy safeguards and sanitation marshal to ensure that that enforcement is carried out. Let me use the opportunity to enlighten public that the time to dump waste at the receptacle is between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. So if you go outside the timing, of course, you may be apprehended.
Fianemeka said work is ongoing to decongest the dump site at the airport road and introduce a new one.
The state government is doing its lot to ensure that there is unhindered, unlimited evacuation of waste from the state. The lot is being done at the airport road access. Work as I speak is ongoing to ensure that the waste there is pushed back because there is a dump behind. They'll compact at the end of the day and then do a fence. The state government has also been able to use a dump site just around the airport access.
The joint investigation visit GIV to the site of a fresh oil spill in Pia Community, Kana local government area of River State, scheduled for today, has been postponed to tomorrow. The spokesperson of NACOP in the area, Ken Nna, confirmed this in an interview with correspondent Suibiru Wari, while noting that officers from NNPC Exploration and Production Limited, NEPL, visited the community earlier today. Mr. Nna said the visiting team, which included some management staff of the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency, NOSDRA, met with the community's Council of Chiefs and promised to return to carry out the GIV.
That there should be a joint investigation as to ascertain the actual cost of the oil spill. That's our most concern now as a community. So we want them to come and look at it. We'll be jointly going with them. That's why we granted them, the chief granted them access. What happened is that since then, about 3 days today, we see the presence of NOSDRA and NNPC and co. They are all here, that they want to go and do a visibility study on the facility. But unfortunately, before we were able to drive down here, they said they cannot be outside more than 4 o'clock as their normal working schedule time. Therefore, they want to go back and come back tomorrow.
Now, also reported that said there has been fire from the site of the spill because of the pressure from the affected oil well.
So the community chief has addressed them and assured them that if they are coming for genuine something, they will have access to the community and to their facility and do what they are supposed to do if they are genuine. So there's a fire now on burning now at the site now. The spirit is still ongoing. The fire is still burning. Our mothers are running away from their farmland. Those that farm close to that environment, we have asked them not to go there. Our boys, our youth are all over there securing the facility, waiting for MPDC or Joint Venture, whatever one they are, to come and do the needful. That is the position we find ourselves right now.
Earlier, a chief from the neighboring community, Koko Teruao, joined in calling on relevant authorities to ensure the GIV is not further delayed.
The appeal to the authorities concerned, because we are predominantly farmers and fishermen, and at the same time they threaten the lives of the people around these communities because you don't know what can happen. We have experienced series of oil spillage and we know the effects, how it happens. So in this, they won't have waited much time to go and actually see how to cover the area and ensure that they stop the spill immediately.
Away from that, concerns are rising over the plight of dozens of Nigerian women reportedly imprisoned in Iraq after falling victim to a human trafficking network disguised as foreign job offers. An anti-human trafficking advocate, Damilola Adekola, is calling on the Nigerian government to strengthen checks on girls and women traveling abroad to prevent further cases of job scams and trafficking. Speaking on Nigeria Info FM's Talking Figures, Mr. Adekola recommended mandatory screening and regulation for women leaving the country to detect signs of trafficking.
On our part, we've been doing what we can do. Each time we bring in ladies and nothing is done, it's like pouring water in the basket, because for every one girl we rescue, the agent has nothing to lose because he has the capacity, the resources to send 20 girls back. If they should even call a stakeholders meeting of all these recruiters, give them guidelines to follow. Find a way to legalize this whole thing in such a way that before any girl will leave Nigeria, the Nigerian government is aware there should be a proper documentation. And any recruiter who cannot abide by this, then you yank them off. They know where they are. At the point of exit, questions should be asked. NDLEA, NAPTIP should have a stand.
On her part, an anti-trafficking lawyer, Remy Sorano, blamed NAPTIP for what she described as a lack of will and commitment to intervene in the growing crisis. She also criticized the silence of some returnees who, despite surviving the ordeal, often fail to report their experiences or alert authorities to the dangers.
I personally believe that it comes from a lack of will from the agency in charge. Another reason why I believe it's difficult to prosecute is because some of these ladies, when they get back, they refuse to report it. And also, some of the ladies not understanding the ramifications of what they went through. Some of them get arrested and they are detained. They tend to cut or bypass the law, and instead of preparing their work visas for them, they just bring them in and then they hold them legally.
Also speaking, a Nigerian woman in Iraq identified as Mama T said that over 80 Nigerian women are being kept in various prisons in Iraq, including babies. She called on all government agencies in charge of traveling to intensify awareness campaigns, warning girls against traveling to Iraq.
Firstly, we want the Nigerian government to stop our girls from coming to Iraq. There are some people that don't know about what is going on here. We want to create an awareness. We want to tell our sisters not to come to this place. Stop coming. Stop coming. It's not a safe journey. There is no Nigerian embassy in Iraq. That is why we are having tough problems here. So there is no way to run to. There is nowhere to complain to. So they should help us. Just maybe they should write to the Iraq government. Let them know that there is some of our ladies in the prison that wants to come back home.
A chief in Egi Kingdom, Azubike Nwangwe, says the Egi Kingdom Council of Traditional Rulers, Egi Kingdom, said the two chiefs behind it, Zion Omekwe and Oleanya London, were suspended as chairman and secretary of the Egi Kingdom Council for gross misconduct, betrayal of trust, and actions undermining the council. So the purported dethronement, as claimed, is null, void, and criminal. Nwangwe said the two chiefs were only appointed by Eze Elenwa to act as chairman and secretary for 3 months, and they were suspended. He said Eze Elenwa remains the undisputed and legally recognized monarch of Egi Kingdom. He called on the public to disregard the dethronement and support the preservation of the sacred traditional institution. He called on the Rivers State Sole Administrator and security agencies to call the two individuals to order, saying their actions could cause a breach of peace and communal conflict in Egi Kingdom. So health matters. A mother living with HIV in Ahoda East local government area says financial hardship and her inability to afford transport to the health facility for routine medication have caused her and her child to default on treatment. She spoke as rising rates of mother-to-child HIV transmission coincide with dwindling funding that is hampering efforts to reach pregnant women living with the virus. She told correspondent Martha Okere that both she and her baby were diagnosed with HIV in 2020, shortly after childbirth while she was breastfeeding.
I cry like for the day where I notice. When when I come to collect the drugs, I dey cry. Then go tell me say make I dey give her the drugs, me I take my own. Make I no miss am any day. Nah, my husband no dey work self, even myself, I no get anything to do. When they call me, sometimes I need to come because of transport. Sometimes I dey miss because of transport. When he finish, I need to drink again because until I get money for transport before I come again.
But 36-year-old Innocent Praise, who's living with HIV, says her 3 daughters are HIV negative. Praise, who is also a community mentor mother, currently through the journey from when she discovered she was positive the virus to when she was pregnant.
I cry like for the day where I notice. Even here, when I come to collect the drugs, I dey cry.
The high station I attended, the nurse on duty that day, when she found out I was positive, she was like, "Small girl like you, with the waka waka, say how come go get HIV? Say no say person get HIV, no the HIV no get cure. Say no say now you go go and die." That's why I stopped taking the drug. My mom she now know what was wrong with me. She started supporting me. I was having rashes all over my body. My hair started falling out from my skull. So as I started taking my mother started supporting me, buying me drugs. My dad, brother, everybody, my family started showing me love. So from there I picked up and I started recovering. When I got pregnant, they saw me. We are even praising me that look at her pregnancy, looks good on you. So I have to register here. I was having access to my drugs.
As you may know, Nigeria's allocation for HIV under the Global Fund's current grant cycle has been reduced by 11%. The 2024 HIV prevalence by state showed that Rivers State tops the list with 208,767 recorded cases of people living with HIV in Nigeria. On the international scene, China says it is pleased to see Russia and the United States maintaining contact and improving ties to advance the political resolution of the Ukraine crisis. President Xi Jinping said this in a phone call with Russian President Vladimir Putin today. Xi told Putin that Beijing will maintain its stance on the need for peace talks and a diplomatic solution to the conflict. On the news this evening, you heard RISIEC says it will use the existing voter register for local government elections despite INEC's planned registration. The PDP has threatened stiffer sanction against members endorsing President Tinubu. The joint investigation visit to oil spill site in Pia community, Rivers State, has been postponed. And on the foreign scene, Chinese President Xi has told his Russian counterpart Putin that China welcomes fresh US-Russia contacts. The news was edited by Martha Alkere. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808-721-7215. I'm Sam Chinedu. Thanks for listening.